Yes.
Are you actually playing Tetris?
Yeah, I'm playing Tetris.
Oh, wow.
I was waiting. If Rob can read a comic book, I can play Tetris.
Rob can't read.
Rob was snoozing. I was hoping that Rob would close his eyes and he'd had eyeballs on the other side, like very much Pirates of the Caribbean.
We start and he's asleep.
Yeah, he started. Robbie's ready for sleepy time. So
falls out of his chair.
Ready to go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine podcast. I'm your host, Stupe. I'm here with a whole group of wonderful people today to talk about Wandavision. With me, as always, are the owners and proprietors of the Heroes World store in Markham, Ontario. That be John, Ho, and Andre. Greenage, say hello.
Howdy, folks.
Guys, how you doing?
With us, of course, is our resident Prince of Mischief and Sleepy Time Bear, Mr. Rob Godet.
What time is it? What's happening? What reality am I in right now?
Oh boy, you're in the reality, Mr. Boner. Here we go.
Oh my God, you picked out my high school nickname. All right.
We have some special guests, but long time oldies, but good time goodies. Here we go. With us is Pat. Say hello to the world, Pat.
Hey everyone.
And of course, finally, a man that needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyways, Mr. Timbo Slice himself, Tim.
Hey guys, how are you?
And I don't want to butcher your last name, but I don't want to. You say it for yourself.
My last name?
Yeah.
Baratus.
I was gonna say Baracus because I was gonna
that's fine too.
I was like, I feel like I was gonna say it out loud. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say Baracus. That would insinuate something different than Baratus or Baracus. Anyway,
I think he should change it to Barracuda. Tim Barracuda. That's a cool.
That's his stage
Tim
name.
Barracuda. Nice to meet you.
That's my Vegas stage name, John. Yeah. What are you doing?
People butcher last names all the time, and I'm the most guilty of it. So thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah, don't take John's title.
No. There's very few things John has ownership over. The butchering of names is John's bread and butter.
That and his love for Tyrese. But there we go. So thank you all for joining us today. As I've already indicated, today is really just WandaVision. For those who have not seen it, we're going to go straight into it. So,
Spoilers alert.
So, spoilers alert. But, and then we'll do, of course, Andre will have his final piece at the end where I've spoken. But nonetheless, here we go. If you've seen the show already, you know what's coming up. Rob, please tell us about the final episode. Give us an unhelpful summary that is not including any positive or negative adjectives, please.
Hey, one last time, Rob. This is it. This is all you got to do, baby. You're sticking the landing.
Till the next terrible show, Andre, and I make him do it. So it's gonna be great. Till the next one.
John, what's the name of the episode?
Before we go, Rob, I'm gonna make you do She-Hulk. So when She-Hulk comes out, Rob has already said he's not looking forward to She-Hulk. So I'm gonna have Rob start talking about She-Hulk when it comes out. So for those Intrepid listeners at home, get ready for
the Incredible Hulk show from '78.
Sad music plays.
All right, go, Rob.
John, what's the name of the episode?
It is simply titled The Series Finale.
Sweet.
So
all right.
Lots of effort put into that one.
Okay, so our final episode picks up where we left off last week with Agatha Harkness holding the twins hostage. Wanda is now in a battle to try to save her sons. The reality around her is crumbling down. We get the promise of the vision from the end of episode 8. The White Vision has now entered the hexagon, and he does battle with the Wanda's construct of the vision. While that is happening, Agatha and Wanda are battling for the power of the Scarlet Witch. Monica Rambeau determines that Pietro or fake Pietro is none other than I think it was Dirk Boner or whatever his name was.
You've gone off the rails already,
Ralph
but
Boner.
You've gone off the rails a lot with the non-helpful. You're really just telling the story now. I'm like, whoa,
no,
thanks, Rob.
Completely just,
and it's
great.
No,
thanks.
and the series ends with the world around Wanda dissipating, and she drives off in her Camry or whatever car it
It was a Buick. It was a brand new
and-
Buick.
Yeah, it was a big.
and
And she
finds
didn't drive,
herself
she flew.
in a cabin that, to be very honest with you, I thought might be in the wilderness of Alberta and was waiting for Wolverine to stock up, but alas, it did not happen. And the series is over, and we can all rest easy.
As some would
Can
say,
you?
rejoice.
Can I just say, Stu, I 100% thought Wolverine was coming too. I'm so surprised to hear that. I really thought that was it.
Don't help him. Don't help him. He doesn't need any help. Don't
He had
give him
extra
that.
time too. He was reading
Jeez.
comics before we started.
Jeez. Brutal. All right, here we go. Okay, so that was. Thank you, Rob, for that very unhelpful summary, but also very. much
It was
spoilers.
it's exactly what happened. I don't know what else. What would you like me to do? I'm getting to the feelings. They had feelings.
The feels. The feels, as the kids would say.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, the only feelings I had after this episode was gas. All right.
Woo. Can we roll that clip later? Can we save that clip and
Yeah.
have that saved for future reference?
Yeah.
Rob always has gas.
Rob has a lot of good quotes. We can just save that one for the future for the greatest hits.
RoboCop, fun for the whole family.
Timestamp that. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna break it down into two subsections, of course. One is our thoughts on the episode itself only. I'm gonna give the panel's feelings and thoughts on it, and then we're gonna do the next phase, which is overall series thoughts and views. So, John, you are first on our intrepid journey on the search for sanity. Go first.
Okay, so again, not as articulate as the other guys, so I just cheated, and I'm actually doing a top 5 list.
You have a gimmick.
so-
Don't worry about it. This is
Yeah,
you are
this
the
is
new,
my gimmick.
You are the new Dave Letterman.
Yeah, if
It
I
just-
didn't get to go first, I would have been screwed. So thank you, Steve, for letting me go first. And then he's gonna switch it right now.
Nope.
So
I know,
overall,
John. You're gonna say nothing. You're gonna say I got.
I
nothing.
got
So,
these cards are blank.
Could you throw the cards too, like Letterman behind you, please?
I
Yes, thank
can.
you.
I don't know if I'm gonna throw behind me like Rob, but yeah. So overall, I like the episode. That's why I couldn't come up with a more clever gimmick. I just figured I'd do a top 5 of things I liked in the episode. So coming in at number 5, Jimmy Woo breaks free. So overall, I think it was kind of like not the strongest scene, but I like it because I don't think it probably was in the original script. So and it came back and hit me.
He can't even throw it properly.
Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I know.
He has 4 more chances. He has 4 more chances.
Yeah.
That's one. Don't worry.
Because
Keep on
correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't even get arrested on screen, right? All of a sudden,
Nope.
he was just captured
Yeah.
by sword. So I
Yes.
feel like they just really liked his character.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, let's give him some more screen time. He probably was originally supposed to only show up at the very end of the episode like he did and do cleanup. So I thought it was cool that he got some extra time. So that's it. Jimmy Woo, number 5. So number 4, Darcy Saves the Day. So they set up this joke like 2 episodes ago where she's stuck at a traffic light and all of a sudden she shows up at the very end and slams into Hayward's Humvee. I questioned where exactly he was going to run to, but it was a nice little payoff that was kind of quick and easy. And then let's throw that one. All right. Okay. I'm going to throw it forwards. Maybe it'll work better.
Throw it
so
forwards or
number
backwards.
3
Don't worry. Try whatever.
Number
you want.
3, magic turns your hands black. I like this like weird concept of like you saw Agatha Hart's, all her fingertips were like black, and then Wanda's hand turned like all necrotic and black. I like this is kind of a neat concept. I don't know. I've stated before, I don't really dig this magic vibe. But I thought that was kind of cool and kind of creepy way of showing that maybe it's not a good idea to be doing whatever they're doing. And then number 2. Number 2 is Wanda loses her family. If you didn't
You
start
that?
to if you didn't start to tear up, I think you're dead inside. And I saw these guys didn't care. I was very sad. And like I said, I don't really care. Like these characters, they didn't really matter to me going into this. So I thought it was pretty sad that she's like, oh, you tuck the kids in at night, and she's running under the assumption she's never going to see them again, right? And same with Vision. She doesn't know what happened with Vision, so she's kind of like, which is kind of funny. He doesn't kind of tell her what happened. All of a sudden, the other Vision is just gone. So it's kind of like she's just giving up everything. So I was pretty sad at that part, and I saw some clickbait that said Marvel's greatest love story. So I think it is. Like we had kind of the ScarJo and Hulk thing, but it wasn't really kind of like established. You were just kind of like, this is kind of weird all of a sudden that they're like, sun's going down, buddy, that type of thing. It was really weird. I know Rob wants to see like a Cinemax series on that, but I don't know about that. And then number one, which I did not see coming, as number one was some vision on vision action. So this is the thing
about Cinemax. All right.
Yeah. Paul Brittany got in trouble because he teased this whole thing. He's working with someone he can't wait, didn't think he was going to work with or whatever. But I know I should probably be talking about the witch on witch fight, but I don't know. The vision on vision really made it for me. So you got two robots fighting out. I kind of forgot how powerful Vision was. He can fly, he can shoot these laser beams, and he's got is it a phasing effect or a transparency effect?
Phasing.
I thought they did a really good job. Yeah. I thought they did like a phased like wrist lock. I don't know if you saw that, Tim. That was cool. And then they were kind of like going through each other and stuff like that. And then you cap it off with an iRobot like debate at the end. So I'm a sucker. Outer Limits, they had an episode with iRobot, I think, and Star Trek, the Data episode.
It's very Captain Kirk, John.
Where all this kind of like debate on that thing. Like give me robots fighting robots. I'm down with that. And that's it for me.
Oh, nice throw.
That was the best throw. Hey! Unlike the show, you sucked the landing. All right, John.
Damn, Rob. All right. Wow. Just all right, Rob. There you go. You're up.
Oh, I thought Tim was next. Okay. I love the episode. No. I don't know if it was a problem that we as fans built up this show based on
it was us.
The promises and the breadcrumbs that they laid throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
And we fell for it. We got catfished. It began with the promise of
not Kat Dennings fished.
No, I'd be okay with that. We got it began with the aerospace engineer, and then we know Paul Bettany kind of blew the lid off, but there was still a hope that we knew he was going to do Vision, but we thought maybe there'd be another cameo or somebody else, and that didn't transpire. I felt that this episode was about 49 minutes long, and I felt that they really crammed in a lot of the periphery, the Monica Rambeau stuff. I felt like they just kind of hurried through it. She was stuck in that house with Evan Peters, who we found out was just an actor. I don't know how he got the speed powers, but he was just an actor. Ralph Boner with an H. The Kat Dennings thing that John just mentioned, I felt like that was just kind of shoehorned in to say, oh, don't forget we also have Kat Dennings. Like she drove the car into the side of Hayward's truck.
They set up the joke two episodes ago.
But it wasn't. But there was a joke needs a payoff. It needs a punchline, and there was no there was just nothing.
The punchline that she came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but if you look at the earlier episodes, she contributed so much more to the overall arc of the story, and then it was just kind of like left in the dust. The whole thing with Hayward, where his nefarious plot, and what's we were wondering, is there something more behind Hayward, and it just turned out to be a guy who was just maybe corrupt or whatever. The Jimmy Woo thing again, like kids. you didn't see, but they weren't really kids. You didn't see him being arrested, as you said, John. But then the whole thing with let me call the FBI. They're going to be here within an hour, and then he calls Cliff at the FBI. Says, "Can you be here within the hour?" It was just kind of like. I felt like they were just writing these scenes just to give them some, okay, don't forget we have these people, they were part of the ensemble cast, and we're just finishing it off. At the end of the day, this entire show, this episode was all about power. It was all about one person wanting more power over the other. And in the parallel with Vision as well, Vision wanting to destroy the Vision. And as John, said, it became a matter of a morality and who is the real Vision. I agree with John. I felt that battle looked a lot better and was a lot more exciting than the Agatha Scarlet Witch battle. I felt it just dragged on a really long time. And, I didn't understand the whole premise in the last two episodes was that Wanda didn't understand her powers. Even in this episode, she said that she doesn't know how she's doing any of this. And then all of a sudden she created the runes while they're floating up in the sky. and so I just felt like I felt like it was a bit of a hot mess. Like, I'm glad it's over, but I was more satisfied that it was over because I don't have to, like, there's not a 10th episode. I felt like
you don't want one more
episode? But if this is supposed to be a love story, or even because you're not going to make a movie out of these two characters, then you could have done it differently, a lot more compact. I just felt that we've invested a lot of time, these 8 weeks, going through these episodes, and this finale felt so far outside of everything that we've seen before. It just didn't jive with me. And again, every week I say this, I always look to my son, and when we're watching it, and at the end he just like, that was kind of crap, because even he just didn't he liked the Vision fighting stuff, but aside from the Vision fighting, it all looked really simple. Like, it really looked like budgetary constraints. It looked very, very simple. The awakening of the town, again, why is it happening now? It didn't really matter. I understand, John, you're saying that it was sad seeing, her world that she created, melding away, and the kids dying off or whatever. But again, they're not real. And the mid-credit scene with the Skrull lady, obviously she's referring to Nick Fury. And then the finale scene of Wanda in the cabin in the woods, which I really thought like that was Alberta. I was expecting there to be, something of Logan or whatever, because I guess in episode 8, it kind of felt like they were teeing up that she was a mutant, that, and that payoff did not happen. And then obviously you see her subconscious is reading through this Book of the Damned. That sets her up for obviously what's going to happen with Doctor Strange. So even though the setups for the next few movies, it didn't feel like a setup. It just felt like we have to make the assumption that this is a setup. It wasn't presented well enough. So overall, I'm going to crib what Stu has always said to me, is that it's fine. The episode was fine, but it needed to be better than fine. Yeah. It needed to deliver on the promises in which it was presenting, and it didn't do that. And for me, I'll be very honest with you, and I know we'll summarize the entire season, but I now, after watching this episode, will have no desire to rewatch any part of this season to get ready for any future Marvel projects.
I have a follow-up question for you. What was promised? Because they said nothing.
What are you talking about when they said nothing?
What did they promise you at the beginning of the show? Before the show came out, what did they promise? They said nothing about the show. It's like, here's a WandaVision. Like, and then that's it. We were complaining that they were like, what is this show about? And they promised us nothing, and they gave us nothing. So what was it that you're upset about that they promised? Because it seems like we all analyzed a lot of stuff and made our own assumptions rather than
they let people roll with it, though.
You let people fill in the gaps, but they never said anything about like it's going to lead to this. They never said anything about the show.
No, not necessarily. No. What did they? Kevin Feige had come out and he said that the events of the show do lead into and tee up Doctor Strange plus Spider-Man 3, which is No Way Home. Yep. And so they did come out and say that. They came out and said that. The promises within the show, the aerospace engineer, they teed up all of these different.
That was a throwaway line. I think we just filled in the gap a lot about
the Monica Rambeau, the quick
like it was cool kind of seeing her develop. I mean, this is the first she developed her. She became whatever moniker they're going to give her. Maybe it's Photon. You saw that develop, but then it was kind of like left. It wasn't fleshed out fully where you feel like she's all of a sudden there's something more. Like I just felt like give me a bit more of a tease to say, okay, like that she's going to be in Captain Marvel too. It's been in the press. We know that, but give me a bit more. Give me something. Give me a showing of her power a little bit or something, right? She just was able to see, she saw the guy's necklace and she's like, aha. Like, I just felt like it was,
But also too, if I can jump in, just the style of their storytelling with them putting in so many Easter eggs that are absolutely insignificant, allowing people to then deep dive into stuff that is 100% meaningless. It's misdirection in the wrong format. If they didn't do that stuff, you didn't need to quote unquote pay so much attention or then dive on the internet. Now that's not their fault. You're absolutely right that fans jumped on this stuff, but I believe way before this show even started, they did imply it's going to lead to Doctor Strange. And how did they do that? Because Agatha Harkness mentioned the Sorcerer Supreme, they didn't link up anything. There's no clear cut thing. Now, they didn't have to say this story will be continued in but it doesn't line up anywhere, right? And
did she say she's more powerful than Sorcerer
yeah,
Supreme?
she said
Yes,
the
that was
Scarlet
yeah.
Witch is
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah.
to be stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme.
How do you know the Doctor Strange sequel isn't going to start with like Wanda?
No, we don't.
We don't.
But
And
that's
it's-
what. But
So
this
how do you
show,
say it doesn't tie into it if you
No,
don't
no,
know?
but what I'm saying is that the promise, like, if you know, like these
Okay,
these
so
mid-credit scenes.
let's put a
mo-
tap on this because again, we're going to talk about the season. We're veering off what we're talking about, which is this episode. So we're going to
Series
get back
finale.
to this momentarily. I just want the episode itself. So that's it. The finale. All I care about is that, and we're going to carry on. Any final thoughts, Rob? Because again, we'll have lots of time to go through your thoughts on the show itself. But
Well, I was going to say for the finale though that these mid-credit scenes, they didn't. We're very accustomed. Marvel is great at these mid-credit scenes, teeing up their next projects, and I felt
Are
that this
they?
wasn't.
are they?
Yes,
Like,
it's
it's
yeah,
50-50, isn't it? Isn't it 50-50? Like, no, they're not all great. The original stuff was great, but then now they're just kind of like, we're going to snip basically something we filmed that we can't use. We're going to throw it at the back of the movie.
No, I don't. Listen, if you're talking about the Ant-Man ones, yes, I would agree. The Ant-Man ones are atrocious. I don't care to see the ant playing drums, but for the most part,
or
when they've
Spider-Man
teed,
with Captain America at the end is like waiting and like talking about like how like it's like that was not really that useful. There's been hit or misses of the after credit scenes as opposed to, they're not all perfect. But I again, sorry, go ahead.
that's all I have to say.
Wow, can you
That
do
is
the
all.
drums of the ant, please? Can you pretend to do that? Yeah. But I'm bummed. All right, Andre, give us your thoughts on the finale as we carry on our journey.
Yeah, so I don't think that the finale lived up to the hype or the expectations. There was moments that I liked. I think the best part of it was the Vision battle, but not the battle. What was it called? Was it Theseus's ship?
The ship of Theseus, yes.
Yeah, the ship of Theseus.
That
Like
was
I
agreed.
really
Awesome.
enjoyed that part. I thought that was the best set of writing that they've ever done.
Yep.
And of course, it's actually, they didn't create that. They just utilized it
Yep.
at the right
Yep.
right moment.
Yep.
Where was it heartfelt when she was losing her family? Yeah, definitely. But there was only one outcome. When I get emotional watching a show, it's because something's happened that I didn't know was coming, and it's well executed. There was no other way it was ending. So yes, was it acted right? I loved what Vision says. This is not goodbye. We may see each other again. Very, very cool. Rob mentioned the runes. Again, we have a character that knows that she doesn't know magic, confesses she doesn't know magic. Her powers are not from magic that she knows. And throughout the course of this whole battle, anytime Scarlet Witch fights, I'm going to use a D&D reference. She's basically throwing magic missiles. This whole thing, she's throwing magic missiles that automatically hit the target, and she tended to miss. But then somehow magically, she don't know how to read magic. Nobody's taught her. She then does the runes. I'm not buying it, and that's attention to detail. And I'm sorry if you can't, either write something where she outpowers her because she's stronger or whatever, but she's going to do something that she does not know how to do, then any hero at any time, anywhere, when you write anything can do that. And that's inconsistent. That's not playing fast and loose. That is complete, utter bullshit.
Agreed.
Right?
That's Star Wars.
But they established she's
No, but in the new
she's
Star Wars movie,
naturally
not the old
magic
one.
Okay, sorry.
Like,
inclined.
with Rey,
I don't
right?
know the new Star Wars. Sorry, so don't
like
say
when,
Star Wars because I love Star
when
Wars.
Rey uses the powers of a Jedi without any training, it's
Yes,
similar.
agreed.
She's
Okay.
like, how do I the Jedi mind trick? She's like, you let me go, and then
That's
she
good point.
like to your
Good
point, Andre.
But
I
again,
agree.
we can argue that the new Star Wars were poorly written. Or
Oh,
whatever.
I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing with that. It's a kid
That's a
using a
separate
broom.
podcast.
It's
Yeah.
like, wait a second. Luke Skywalker took forever with a Jedi match to lift a stone, and you're telling me this little kid can move a broom? So I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's
Yeah.
similar in ilk of that. Yes.
So that stuff is like, I think last podcast I asked what the plot of this show was, we do now know what the plot of the show is. The plot of this whole show was that Marvel created a character to be like the Scarlet Witch that was not like the Scarlet Witch. So now they're retconning their whole universe to call her the Scarlet Witch. Done. Did they need 6 hours to do it? No, they did not. Could they have done the last 3 episodes and make it really a tight last 3 episodes without all the other filler that was inconsequential? Like that, what's his name? Ralph Boner part?
Yep.
He
Okay.
runs really fast and flicks Monica Rambeau, but then somehow she just grabs the thing off of him and he couldn't move fast or whatever, right?
She might have activated her powers, I think. The photon powers.
I guess so.
Yeah,
Again, it just I'm like, what am I watching here?
Yeah.
Right? Like it just didn't, and then she didn't really do anything. I was really disappointed in the fact that it not only was it Paul Bettany saying the cameo, right? But I really think it was, we all, before he said it, people were like, who do you think the cameo is going to be? And Marvel let it run. You know, I don't think it would have been bad of them to say, hey guys, this show is about Vision and Scarlet Witch. You know, we've shown you everybody that's going to be here. So they let this thing build up. And then, you know, I watched it Friday morning and I messaged you guys instantly. And I'm like they're just fucking liars.
Well, didn't the director say, prepare to be like, guys, slow down? Like he
but they put, when did they put that out? Thursday night or something like that? They should have nipped that in the bud, because again, how cool would it have been, even if we didn't see his face, but we just see Doctor Strange cape fly down at the end? How cool would it have been if instead of the traditional, well, it doesn't matter, it's the fight between Wanda and Agatha, yeah, it's cool, they're fighting in space, but what if, you know, you want to put a cameo in there? Give us Baron Mordo coming, I sensed all this power and I'm gonna take it. Because what if people didn't see Doctor Strange or watch that end credit, and then you have an actual battle with 2 trained magicians, right? And Wanda stuck in the middle.
Or even Wong. Bring Wong in.
Or, yeah, you know, like it just they
Brother
just
Voodoo. Anyone,
they had so much that they could have done with it. And the payoff, again, listen, if you are a Scarlet Witch fan, the fact that they've referenced chaos magic, they've said this, she's got the Book of the Darkhold, she's got a crazy cool costume, and maybe that scene at the end where she's in the cabin, maybe that was Wundagore Mountain for all us initiated people who know what that is. But if you're not initiated and don't know what that is, it means nothing to you. Right? So again, this thing, like Rob said, you don't need to watch this. You might want to watch it because you enjoy Elizabeth Olsen, and that's great. I don't think you should buy into the fact that Marvel tried something different. They didn't. If they tried something different, they would have actually given us a full-on comedy, but this thing turned into a poorly executed action drama at the end. And I'm super happy that people enjoy it. I think right now in 2021, there's not a lot of stuff for people to latch onto, and people, and listen, I'm not saying don't enjoy it. I'm not saying it does not have merit, but for me, unfortunately, and probably not right, I do for some reason have higher expectations for Marvel, and I don't know why, because in my thing, they haven't delivered all the time, right? So I don't know why I expected them to deliver. This again definitely didn't deliver, and I think they have better, more talented writers and they didn't deliver on that. I just plain and simple, like, it just, the effort wasn't there for this last episode. It just felt patchwork, and like I said, throwing all these stupid things in, like again, it's the comedy part. The guy somehow picks up a safety pin, and they throw the guy in the barn. You know, like
they do that in every movie.
That was a play. That was
like these. So you think Agents of Sword?
That's a trope. Well, yeah, that's
yeah. It's just hokey, and I know people are haha funny, like that's what you're going for, and that's cool. I'm, like I said, I'm glad people liked it. Not just didn't do it for me.
Isn't that to show his continual magic training?
100%.
That's what I thought that was, right? Like Houdini magic tricks.
Yeah, it's a you know, a magic term, and for those who are amateur magicians, they totally understand the flourish, what that means, John. Yeah, it.
They should have had
I-
a David Copperfield or
I
David
giggled
Blaine
when that happened, and I'm
appearance.
like, I loved it a lot, but that's again,
You
it's
giggled?
a little bit of joy. Yeah, I giggled.
Did you go like
Yeah.
that?
I was
Okay.
like, I'm gonna be Rob, like a Pillsbury.
Wait, now
Doughboy.
I'm the Pillsbury Doughboy.
You are now the
That's what you've
Pillsbury
just done.
So Rob, there you go. Now you got a new nickname, Doughboy, Pillsbury.
Oh, that's
so-
great. Thanks. Way to go body shame, Stu. Nice. Great.
Hey man,
Canceled.
you have a wonderful personality. You're loved by many on the internet. Why? Who doesn't love the Pillsbury Doughboy? I could call you Stay Puff as well if you like. Either way, he
I'm
wouldn't.
gonna beat you when I can see you.
Two beings that wouldn't hurt a fly, as Vecman would say. He would never do harm to anyone. I think of my childhood. There we go. Any other final thoughts before we jump off to Tim, Andre?
No, I'll save it for the rest of the,
Okay,
the
good.
thing here.
All right, Tim. It is up to you.
All right, I'm team positive, right?
You can do whatever you want.
Let's do
That's
this.
whatever you want.
You were assigned.
You can do whatever you
Positive.
want.
His competitive spirit has taken over.
Yeah.
He was like, I was going to agree, but now I got to go against him.
I'll say that the final episode, the things that I enjoyed with it was the fact that it seems like they saved up their budget from the last 2 episodes to throw it into this one. Like this one had a lot of special effects, like the Vision fight, the Jimmy Woo getting out of the handcuffs. That cost a lot.
That's high budget thing, Tim.
High
the
budget move.
Wandavision fight, like that was all those
Yeah,
special
budget.
effects. The Monica Rambeau part, right? So it seemed like they put a lot of money into this episode, and it showed. Like, okay, there's a lot of money here, so I like that. I thought that was good, because we had heard about the budget for the show before, and then as some of the episodes went, I was like, whoa, how much money did you spend on it? Like, it didn't seem right. The memory transfer, you guys haven't talked about that yet. I did like that the Vision implanted all his memories into White Vision. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it was already there. He just unblocked.
I think he unlocked it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah, like it
That's
wasn't. It wasn't. Troll
he
transfer.
removed the firewall.
Yeah.
Andre. Good
Ah,
one.
Andre,
Good
there
one.
you go.
Good one.
Andre
Yeah,
for the
firewall
win.
removed. Yes.
I like that. I was confused at what that means though. Like if he has the memories, does he then have the emotion? Right? Like then
I
does
think
he
I think he has everything. They
Okay,
just
so-
tried to block everything.
No,
for him.
Again, I'm on
What
team
big
positive here.
Emotions too.
I'm on team positive here, but doesn't that mean then at the end of the show, there's a White Vision standing around going, "Where's my wife? Where's my honey?" Like, doesn't he have all the emotion? And then like,
No.
We don't know.
He
what's
just has
happening
he
yet.
just has the memories of what
no,
happened.
but I
because
just
he goes-
asked, does he have the feelings and
He
the
has.
emotion?
He would
Oh, he
have
doesn't.
all the memories up until he died
Yeah.
at Thanos. So
He-
he wouldn't have the memories
yeah,
in the
he-
WandaVision.
Yeah, but he
They
likes
weren't
her. like,
married. They were a couple though, and they
Yeah,
So
to be
he
fair,
could be
it-
seeking her out.
100%,
So-
Andre. Yeah, to be fair, he might say, "Oh my God, Thanos is out there and he's flying to stop Thanos." We don't know. Like theoretically, the last thing he remembers is a gem being pulled out, and he's like, "Oh my God, the Avengers."
Yeah, so he
And
has the
basically-
memory of dying.
He has the memory
that
of
the
other
dying
Vision didn't
and the
have.
Avengers. He doesn't have the memories of this Vision and the kid. So he could be like, "Oh snap, I gotta fight Thanos and fly out to Wakanda." So we don't really know. Like
I think that's where he is because you never see him again. I think he's in Wakanda looking for a fight. And
Yeah,
there's
look,
no-
yeah.
You would think,
And he's-
you would think that he would have a timestamp, and it would be like his last memory was 5 years ago, and then this one is like, hey,
Last
wait a minute,
online.
it's 2020. Yeah, if he
Sometimes you don't
connects
look.
to Google, he'll
we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
sometimes
know if
you
he's.
don't look.
Does he have Wi-Fi? Is he connected to the internet? I don't. Andre,
Starlink. Elon Musk is
Yeah,
making
just-
sure
just-
that Vision's
Is
connected.
Vision connected to the internet? Because I think Ultron was. I don't know if Vision is. I think this is a very great question. We'll have to ask later.
He
But I
doesn't
don't
have the
think he's
stone
connected.
anymore, though, right? Like, so why
No.
would he have emotion? I don't understand why he would have emotion.
Why would he
still-
have?
he's still
the
a
stone
human. I
didn't
don't know.
give him emotions.
He's
though.
still.
I think he's also like sending inappropriate birthday cards to Tony Stark because he doesn't know he's gone. Like it's gonna be very awkward for this guy. So
I
feel
don't
bad
think. Yeah,
for
he
him.
doesn't know. Yeah, he probably doesn't know that. Like, unless to Andre's point, the new Vision imparted some of his memories as well to Vision, but we don't know because it didn't flash back. If we look back at the video clip, it doesn't show any of the new clips of WandaVision. It only
No.
shows up until
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
that. So there is, to Andre's point, he probably only
And-
knows up to that point, and that's it.
Yep. Anyways, I did like the fact that he did that because that you know, when we're talking about what does it lead to, I feel like this episode definitely leads to some sort of story with Vision for sure, because now you've got this white Vision. So that's a character now we know can develop.
And
I did like
one final thought too before you go. It could lead to the Avengers initiative, because in the comic books, as we know, when all the Avengers died, protocol kicks in. He's like, I gotta get new Avengers. Like, I gotta sort this out. So
I thought you were gonna say kicks into Avengers West Coast. I'll be like, yo, dope.
Nobody wants that.
It's Avengers Great Lakes Avengers. Is
He
what they
wasn't
fix
on.
into.
No, but Vision wasn't on Great Lakes, was he? I don't remember.
I love the West Coast Avengers, but that's a whole different. I think to the point is that
Bring back Hawkeye, bring back Bobby Morse.
yeah, if it's the situation where his programming already, because part of his Jarvis-ish is like, if the Avengers ever fall, you got to get the next group of heroes. So it could have been, to people's point, like he has like, oh snap, Thanos, and just flies away to get stuff done. So that's maybe why I didn't stay for Wanda. But yes, sorry Tim, go for it.
Anyways, the last couple of things I'll say that I liked was, I liked the fact that they at least gave Monica Rambeau that one little scene where she at least has her powers. I thought that seemed to be like a story that they were really killing off mid-season. But at least they gave her that little point. I like that.
Tim, do you think
and then
for her,
and then,
sorry, I'm gonna
well,
talk to you, Tim, about that. Do you, for her, Andre's point before about Wanda was that she's getting initiative of powers that she didn't know she had, and Monica is similar in her journey where she's starting to get powers she didn't, like she's jumping around the kids and she didn't know that she could protect them. So is that like reflective, or do you think that she just knows this is her power? Like,
no, I took that as she was literally sacrificing herself to save the kids, and then her power kicked in. So I don't think she knew she had that. The last thing I'll say is, overall, this story ended that emotional arc with Wanda and Vision. So I mean, you did feel, I wasn't crying like John, but
It's sad.
But
all we know is John cares about his daughters, that he loves them both, and he thought of them, and that's it. That's 100%. As a father, he
yeah,
cares.
sorry, those people are staying in the bubble, given the same situation.
Yeah, but I thought that emotional arc definitely came to a close, and so that was nice. And I'm trying my best, but that was nice. What I will say is, my wife really enjoyed that part. So watching her watch it,
I was going to ask
the
you.
emotion.
I was going to ask you about your wife's thoughts on it, because as we know, you had a very turbulent time watching The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get her thoughts quickly from your thoughts on, like, did she enjoy the journey of WandaVision compared to? She did not like this one too.
So we were all in. I know we're supposed to talk about the season,
but just
for this episode, she went off to do other things in the middle of it. Like, and that was the last 2 or 3 she was like that, but this one too. But overall, when she knew I was coming to do this podcast, she's like, okay, but remember, like, how cool the story was with them being a couple and the emotionalness. So that did stick with her 100%. Like, and so you do have to give some credit to that story, at least flushing out throughout the season. But that's
I don't think I'm giving the credit to the story. I'm giving credit to your wife, who was like reminding you of it. I don't know how much of the story imprinted on it, but yes. Yeah. Okay.
But that's
I totally get it. Pat, as we round out the final thoughts on
I lean on the positive. I like the episode. I think the biggest problem with what Dre was saying and what you were saying was that it didn't answer a lot of expectations that we as viewers created, right? But as its own episode, I liked it. I really like the fact that they actually basically retconned her. Right, I told John this because John and I were discussing this previously about whether, is she a mutant? Was she born this way? Right, and I was just saying how maybe they just slyly retconned her into a mutant, or like a born witch or something like that. Because before the show, she wasn't. Right, her powers were stoned given, and she kind of did the entire thing. Right, but then they basically retconned her into a mutant for all future I guess endeavors that they want to deal with. Right. I mean, I like the Scarlet Witch as a character. I thought that she didn't have enough, like, I guess, screen time in the movies, and she didn't, right? All of her scenes in the movies were these weird love scenes with Vision, and then this show kind of like fleshed it out, right? Yeah. So I liked it. But
you like her new costume or that Avengers leather jacket?
I really like her new costume. Like, it looks kind of like, it's
very Magneto-ish. I don't know if you guys saw the thing. I was looking. I'm like, that's the same burgundy as Magneto. I'm like,
yeah, and on her crown, there was almost looked like an M on the.
I really like
on
a new
the
costume.
jewel in her crown.
I really like a new costume. Like, but I mean, but the like. A lot of the things you guys say are valid too, right? Like it just felt like it didn't deliver. But as an individual show, I mean, at the end of the day, what were people expecting? I was expecting a show about Wandavision, and that's what I got.
Yeah.
Right. And it drummed up interest. Yeah. People watched it. Disney Plus crashed. Right. I guess at the end of the day, it still is. It was a successful show, whether or not we agree.
But I think
you tried to watch it at 3 a.m.
on the Pat.
I did not. I didn't try work. I didn't try watching it the other day. I did it last week.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the few shows, by the way, Stu, that I have not like I haven't felt
again.
No. Like, you know how years ago you used to wait every Monday to watch a TV show, right? I haven't felt that way about a show in a very long time, partially because it's not possible, right?
But you did on this one?
But I did on this one, yeah. I woke up early on Friday before work to watch it before work.
I think all of us did for spoilers.
As early as I
could.
Yeah.
Rob's really good at avoiding it, but the rest of us are not good. But also Rob watches it with his son, so it's a bonding experience for the two of them. But the rest of us are like 7 o'clock in the morning and log in before, because if you log on to YouTube or Twitter, it's like there's gifs and pictures and everything right off the bat.
So
like,
say what you will. I mean, I like this last episode. You guys already discussed on all the good points, the budgeting.
Andre, did you have a follow-up question before we?
I just wanted to talk because Pat mentioned that it crashed Disney Plus and it's successful because it has a lot of views. Listen, let's be honest with you. With everybody out there, if you have Disney Plus, you're watching the show because there's nothing else new on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Rob made this point before. If you're paying for a service, you're going to watch what's new. So regardless if we think it's good or not, I think that is a big part of it. There's millions of subscribers. This is their only new show other than their paid stuff. So I think people are watching it because of that.
I completely disagree.
I disagree.
There are a ton of people that have Netflix and didn't watch Emily in Paris or Bridgerton.
No. But he's saying that there's so many other.
Yeah, there's so much new stuff.
Right?
This is
on
the
Netflix.
only thing Disney's giving, and we have not had any Marvel stuff since what 3 years?
No. Yeah,
so
Andre, I think it's a balance. I agree with you that there's an appetite for Marvel stuff, so people want to watch it. But I'm also going to say that they're just not going to watch anything for the sake of watching anything, because Netflix as well is producing content all the time. And I look at the new Netflix. I love Pacific Rim. I love Pacific Rim 1, but the anime show I'm not really that interested in it. So I'm not going to watch the new show on Netflix even though it's brand new. Like,
is it out now?
Oh, it's out.
The anime.
I gotta watch it. See, I was wasting my time watching WandaVision. I would rather have watched that.
Coming to America 2 is out also.
If Disney only has one thing to watch, and you're paying your $90 a year or your $10 a month, I'm
paying for Amazon, and you better believe I'm not watching Coming to America 2. So I'm like, I'm out.
How dare you?
I don't want to.
Just
on that, I'm like, I'm ready to
other
bounce.
Things coming out. Right?
There are things coming on Amazon on Prime all the time, and I'm not watching them either.
But that's my point. Name me the other new Disney show on Disney Plus from the last 8 weeks.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian was
in the last 8 weeks. Mandalorian was new.
They're doing one show at a time. Are they not?
Finished.
The trailer for that new Mighty Ducks show.
Yeah,
the trailer.
I'm
just saying, it's one show at a time, so you better believe people are going to watch it. I'm just saying,
Andre, we're also in a peak of a pandemic when it's not like when they're filming stuff, it's difficult and not everything's coming out right away. So I give them a little bit of like, I agree with you. People are watching because
Andre has a point. Yeah, you're subscribed to Disney Plus. That's the only new thing. You're like, I'm going to check it out, but you're probably not going to log on at 3 a.m. and crash the service.
But at the end of the day, what is this about, Andre? It's not about you and I as fans. It's about shareholders. And shareholders are happy that people are buying Disney Plus to watch the show. That's why they're making the show. It's not for you and I. If you and I had shares of Disney, we'd be happy.
But I'm just saying.
I'm saying, let me just finish my point. I'm saying that, like, let me just give you a quick summary of the episode or whatever, and we'll go on to it. Like, I walked away with this episode pretty much agreeing with everything you guys have said. There was highs and lows. I loved that scene with Vision and the ship of Theseus. I thought, to your point, Andre, the Scarlet Witch, like, how does she remember the runes? Like, she must have a photographic memory, because just walking in a room, I can barely remember anything I walk into. Like, if I went to an escape room, I don't remember any of the things after I'm done. Imagine walking to an escape room and like, I remember all the glyphs, and then you're able to also, how do you know which glyphs to use and how many, like,
remember this code or we die.
Yeah, like, I'm like, oh, okay, like, there's a thing. Like, to your point, Andre, I agree with you on a lot of things. Like, we are the consumers, but we are also the nerds and stuff that push it to a high level on a pedestal that it shouldn't be on. It's a show about grief, about Wanda and Vision. We're imprinting, like, they're going to do this, they're going to do this, this. It's the same reason we love watching like The Witcher, and we're like, oh, that Easter egg and that Easter egg. Like, Easter eggs in these shows are now standard. It's going to be in Justice League as well, with like, because every time you see, even there are scenes from panels where Ben Affleck, when he's doing the thing on the wall, it's like, oh my God, that's from Dark Knight Returns. Like, the panels look exactly like, that's the nature of, if you make anything science fiction off of existing IP, you're going to have Easter eggs, whether they mean something or don't mean something. We watched Spawn and we saw Angela. What was Angela on that thing? Nothing. She just wore a dress and had a necklace, and we never saw her again. So like, I like, this is the nature of it. They give you Easter eggs for the nerds who know the material. To your point about the mountain, I forgot the name of it.
Wendigar.
Like that probably is right, Andre. And like, if you know it, you're tickled pink. You're like, oh, I know it. But really, it's probably doesn't mean anything outside of, like, they could say, oh, that is the mountain, but it's not going to mean anything outside of it. So I go back and I'm like, I enjoyed my episode. Like, it had its moments, but I left the same feelings the same way I had about Arrow. What I talked to Andre, and I always bring up all back and forth, is that Arrow season 1 just left me wanting. It's like, you had so much potential, you had so much opportunity to do more, and you guys didn't do it. It's like, how hard would it be to add an extra minute? How hard is it for you to do this and that? And that's where I left. Like, the moments that were good, but the moments that bad could have been elevated to, at least adequate, and they just missed that bar. Like, we're not saying the fight scenes were awesome. The dialogue between Vision and Wanda at the end, where she's like, what am I? It's like, you are my pain, you are my sadness. All that stuff was great. All that stuff was really well written. Like, it made a robot cry. Like, that's beautiful stuff. And like, we're just together to the end. It's like, this is what, to point, it's like, they are the best couple, more than than Pepper and even Tony, because there's you actually see that they're in love. Like, Pepper I feel like she's just pissed off at Tony the entire time. She's despondent of like, ugh, I have to be with you. Like, that's it. Like, it's in my contract. The two actors genuinely like each other, and you can see there's a chemistry to it. But yeah, like, the episode, I was on board. I'm like, it's Doctor Strange at the end. It's Doctor Strange to the very end. I'm like, Doctor Strange can show up, and then I was like, Charlie Brown football. Like, it was one of those things where
you were the one that kept telling us every week.
He
was down there. He was filming. He's going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be. And I'm wrong. I was wrong. I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be Nightmare. Maybe it's going to be like, they're going to, like, a very end, Mephisto. And like, it's going to lead into Mephisto, like all this stuff. But we all know, if you know Mephisto, like, he should be an Ultron. Like a Thanos level villain. He's not like someone you just throw away. Like, he's not. Mephisto is so super cool that you wouldn't just throw him away at the very end. Like, here's a Mephisto, and like, they get rid of him. So there's or Kang.
He's no Dormammu.
Yeah, like, Dormammu is a chump compared to Mephisto. So like, there's a
Doctor Strange bitched that guy.
Again.
Yeah, like the same reason why, like, Fing Fang Foom is gonna be just thrown in. It's like, whatever. He's gonna be Shang-Chi and like for 3 seconds, and you're like, oh, we're gonna complain about Fing Fang Foom getting only 3 minutes of play. It's like, he's a cool alien, that's a dragon, and we're like, he's just gonna be thrown away. So we are now used to Marvel totally doing this to us, as in they need to be knocked down a peg, and I really hope that the backlash of this will be like, oh, by the way, you guys aren't perfect. You got away with it once, just like in Iron Man 2, but it can't happen again. Carry on. So everyone needs a reality check every once in a while. So again,
which one was Iron Man 2, Stu?
That was
Black
one
Widow.
With they introduced
Whiplash.
Black Widow
Yeah.
and Whiplash, and then the Avengers Initiative, and then they introduced all that stuff about, like, you're not fit for the
race car and
Avengers.
Monaco.
Yeah, but what was the thing? What was the issue with that one?
It was just
crap.
It was just like
No,
It was
I
bad.
don't remember. Like, I remember not liking it, but I forgot. Like you said, you did.
it's a
what was
build-up
the-
movie for nothing. It was like a lot
okay.
of like it was a lot of like here's future stuff that we're gonna throw into it,
Yeah,
and
it
you're
was
like
Iron
well,
Man 1.5.
it's not a
Wh-
sustained.
Which is the one? Which is the one with the Mandarin fake out? Is that 2 or 3?
3.
That's the third
Oh.
one.
The 3 is at least it's its own story. Like I could watch it again, I might not like it, but at least it's a story.
Self-contained
Like that
story.
one is like, oh, there's another Iron Man guy and his father, and there's Whiplash, and then Black Widow shows up, and then there's Shield, and then Coulson shows up, and then Starkfair and War Machine, and it was like it's just like one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, like I get it, fine, whatever. So I left going this show at the very end going, even my wife was at the end, she's like, that's it? I was like, yeah, that's it. Like we knew there was end credits, and then when we saw the 2, I was like, oh, okay. Like to my point, I had to
mentioned
think back to like what was promised. Like I sat there like really just like, huh. And then I thought back of what the promise of the show was. And I think that's John echoed it perfectly at the beginning. He's like, I don't know what the thing's about. Like when he watched the trailer, like, I don't get it. And all of us were like, it's gonna be good. And John's like, I don't get it. And now I get what he's saying because it was an empty promise of like, here's a show about WandaVision. That's essentially what it was. It wasn't like anything else.
Did
So
it not feel like it was a series, like a season finale, more than a series finale?
we don't know what the heck's happening next. Like if
Well,
they
they
give me
said
another
there's no
season,
But they've
like-
said there's no season 2, right?
But it was designed like the way I look at it. It feels like a season or a chunk of a much bigger scale of something. Because the way it ended is not how a show ends.
Yeah.
Right. It's feeding into something.
Yeah, it to your point, it's Marvel is now at this Pokemon level of like of game where it's like you got to catch them all. It's like you got a connected universe, watch the stuff. They're banking so hard in you watching all this connected universe stuff that I think we've talked about before. And Rob was concerned that people are going to drop off because if you have to make it so difficult for someone to be engaged in this universe, people are like, forget it, I'm done. Or they're going to watch the one shots. They're going to be on Disney Plus. Be like, here's the 30-second or 20-minute episode on Wanda, so you can just catch up. It's like you're really making it. You're now starting to gatekeep, where you're like, oh, you got to watch all this stuff to do it. So, nonetheless, I liked it. It was fine, but I kind of had to reassess what my thing was. But my criticisms are still there. It's like I agree with Andre. It doesn't. A lot of it was just like meh. But and I liked with John. Like it was sad when it was sad, and it was good. Like a lot of the cool AI robots, the fights were fine. So yeah, all right, that's it. We're gonna go into bigger topic now, which is so needless to say, I'm neutral on the topic. So there we go. Okay, so let's go into thoughts of the series. Now that we know what we know. I can say right now very much that I have watched the show in its completion twice. I watched it again last night. I watched the entire thing. Everyone's eyes are like, I watched it again, and I'll probably, to Rob's point in previous podcasts, skip a few and watch a few highlighted episodes again on my own time in the future. Like the final episode, I'll probably watch again because I just love double vision in a library talking about the ship of Theseus. I was like, oh god, this is so good. And then fast forward and watch something. Like it's moments that I'm enjoying. John, please, now that as someone who was the most like meh on the show and it was dragged kicking and screaming, who didn't care about WandaVision, which true. You were like, I'm out, guys. Like you were ready to bounce off of episode 2.
Yeah, I
want to drag you on board. What are your thoughts? What are you? How about this? Are you happy you stuck on the train? Are you happy you finished?
Yeah, I'm like we've mentioned, kind of like I had like zero expectation for this show. I didn't buy into the hype. I was like, there's no possible way. Like at first I was like, it's Wanda's the bad guy. Why is everyone throwing out all these other things? I'm like, she's the bad guy. Like I think you guys are overblowing it. So I was perfectly fine with the result. Like I made my top 5 list. Sure, I could have probably easily have made a top 5 unanswered questions list for the end, like
10 unanswered questions to be
at least. Yeah, so yeah, I would say it's not satisfying to the point at the end where you're like, oh, now you got to wait for all these other things to unfold or these threads to kind of reconnect. But if the mission was to accomplish that, I actually give a shit about Wanda and Vision, I'd say that's accomplished. Yeah, I definitely Wanda, I'm still kind of like, she's okay, you know. If I was choosing a team of X-Men or Avengers or whatever, I would definitely wouldn't have her on my list, unfortunately. But Vision would probably make my cut for Avengers now. And previously I thought he's like silly as hell looking. I kind of like his costume now. I especially like the newer costume because he's got like the kind of more robotic looking prosthetics on his face. So if that, so if that's how he looks going forward, I'm pretty happy about that, because the big purple fuchsia faced dude looks kind of silly. So overall, I'm fine. Yeah, I was happy with it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, except for maybe clips. I've been watch clips. I tried to restart from the beginning again, and I couldn't deal with the first episode with the 70s show and all that kind of stuff going on. It didn't get to the point fast enough that I was like, okay, I can't even just have this on in the background. I'll move on. So yeah, that's me. I'm fine with it.
Okay. All right. So now we go to Rob. You've been chomping the bit, and I've been poking the bear. What are your thoughts?
How was the aspect ratio in the final episode, Rob?
Shut the hell up.
Was it satisfactory? Was the resolution on point?
I'm waiting for Rob to do Superman flying in the background while he's waiting for this to happen. Like, what kind of gimmicks is he going to do now?
You know, this show, as I've said, we've all talked about, there are moments, and you don't need to watch the first couple of episodes. I think, Stu, you're right. I think, you know, if they release a 20-minute summarization video on this series that will give you all the highlights and the points, I think that's probably the best way to reconsume this series.
Like Supernatural, when they do that summary and they play a wicked old music track.
AC/DC? Yeah, they play. Yeah.
This show,
Kansas.
This show focused a lot on Wanda and understanding grief, and loss, and that's why I said earlier, you can't make this a movie. It would have to. It worked as a show, and I think that there are really poignant moments in this series where you really feel connected to the characters. We talked about the episode, I think it was episode 7, about, you know, sitting on the bed and talking about, you know, what is grief if not love persevering. Like, there are a lot of really integral moments within this series that you actually connected and you understood. And then I felt like, looking back on the series as a whole, I really was much more enamored with the story of love and understanding of what is she doing, why is she doing this, and then it all kind of boiled out to be a fight for who wants more power. And I felt that it did a bit of a disservice. I felt like this series as a whole is very disjointed. We've praised Elizabeth Olsen and her acting in a lot of these episodes, and yet I felt that these last couple kind of just shit on everything that she had done beforehand. And you know, the dynamic between her and Paul Bettany is so good. I mean, John mentioned, I know that Andre mentioned it, even Pat, at the very end, when he's talking to Wanda and he's like, what am I? And she's like, you are my grief, you are my loss, you are my love. And it's like, that summarizes what we watched beforehand. And then I felt like all of the stuff was just kind of thrown in to appease, I don't know. And so, you know, we talked, you know, beforehand, I brought this up, you brought this up, you know, they were saying they're going to rely heavily on this Vision series that Tom King did. And aside from the theme of loss, that was it. There was nothing to really make me now want to really go back. I would be very content and happy with a 20-minute primer and showing a lot of these episodes. Episode 4, when they broke away from the, you know, now we interrupt this message or whatever that episode was, and it was all everything behind the scenes with Sword. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. But I can't recommend anybody going back and rewatching this. And I think if you have never seen the show, I can't recommend sitting down and watching episodes 1 through 9. I think you just Google on YouTube the best parts of WandaVision and you just kind of watch that, because I think somebody will have cut together a pretty consistent narrative thread to be able to show you, you know, a 10 or 15 minute video. I was always banging the drum on this. I kept saying, watch this. You know, our friend Scott, he was like, I'm out after episode 3. I'm like, no, keep watching. There's this, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I like the risks they're taking. And I did enjoy the risks. And yet it felt like they got really afraid of those risks in the last third of the series, and they just abandoned it. So I'm just disappointed. I guess there's so much to like, and yet I felt like everything, the payoff just wasn't there, and it just left me pretty disappointed. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Is this the Emmy episode you'd submit, or earlier episode?
No, I would never submit this. No, and I actually kind of feel bad because I kind of feel that Elizabeth Olsen did such a bang up job in some of these earlier episodes that if somebody was to watch these ones, they'd be like, where's the Wanda from there? Like, where is the acting that you just so perfectly nailed in those other episodes? So I don't know. I guess, you know, I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier because I think we're going to get what they're promising, which is a ruckus and fun. And this one, I just can't, I don't know. I guess I'm just bummed out that I was really expecting something else. Well, yeah, because I just felt it was just too disjointed. It was just, yeah.
I think we can all agree that the next one is, the storyline is, who's going to be the next Captain America? And as long as they answer that one, I think we're fine with Winter Soldier Falcon. Like, that's pretty much seems to be the storyline, where all the trailers of him lifting the shield going, I don't know. Like that's pretty much it. I think that, you know, there's not going to be much more outside of that. But I know John's already complaining about the fight action sequences because he's like, these guys don't look like they're
I'm
fighting.
trying to temper your expectations, guys. So
after WandaVision, the bar is
like
so low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing, like, this show is going to be amazing because WandaVision set the bar so low that, like, all they have to do is just trip over it, and you're going to be like, this is amazing. Baron Zemo's the best villain ever. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. So that I feel like that's the nature of it. So it's interesting you say that you wouldn't even recommend, like, a person rewatch it. So if you are someone not to the Marvel universe, you've never seen it before, of course you're not recommending it. But if you're a completionist, would you still tell someone to watch, like, to skip it?
They would have already watched it though.
Yeah, like if I had somebody would message me and said, hey, I wanted to wait for all 9 episodes to end. I want to binge it, you know, or are there only out, you know, certain episodes out of the series? I would say that if you really feel like you have to as a completionist, like if you're going to hate watch it, then hate watch all 9 episodes. But if you just kind of want to see the best of the best, then I'll give you a bunch of episodes that, you know, maybe there's 4. We've talked about this in the past. And when you have seasons that are 20 episodes long, sometimes 15 episodes long, or 13, you're like, man, if they just knocked off 3 of those episodes and made 10 concise, solid episodes, you know, then that would be a great show. And we kind of all at the beginning of this series thought, like, this is what we wanted. I was arguing and pissed that these episodes were only like 27 minutes long. They give me, you know, I wanted a bit more. I wanted a bit more meat to it. And we got those in these last 2 episodes. And I was like, I want to send that meat back. It's not done. It's too
cooked to your desired.
No.
But yeah, you make a great point about this.
Wait.
This show was 10 episodes. We argued that the Netflix shows were 3 episodes too long, and this was 10 episodes, but they were too short, and they still managed to fill it out with nothing. So yeah, maybe, who knows what's, you know, what the dealio is with people writing. Like, mind you, let's not be overly critical just of TV. John and I could recommend to you comic series that are 12 issue limited series, and man, that story was done after issue 6. And then they did the conclusion at issue 12. But realistically, there's 3 to 4 easy of filler a lot of time. If they could have just gotten rid of that filler.
So quick question.
So much better.
Yeah, but this one doesn't even have filler because the story is just not good enough. Like, it's not like we're complaining that there's filler, right?
There is. The first 4 episodes easily are filler. I would say, to Rob's point, if somebody asked me, what should I watch? I would be like, watch episode 6, half of 6 when they introduce Agatha. Is it Agatha in 6? Either way,
at the end of 6.
I would be watch the end of 6, watch 7, 8, and 9. Done. You don't need anything else.
So
0.
My question to you, Rob, is we talked about at the beginning of this podcast that the snowball that starts small, got bigger and bigger as the show got along, and the internet pushed us along, did more fan theories. It's kind of like the heyday of Lost, when the message forums and people were like, what's going to happen next? And like, there's so much going on. If you were someone who had not watched the show at all and but you binged watched it, would you not have had a different experience, because you wouldn't have had all this buildup of all this promises of stuff you would have never known about? Like, if you just sat down and watched it, if we all did an experiment and we could watch a show again and we knew nothing of it, and you didn't have 8 weeks of like, Paul Bettany said this, and then the aggregators did that with what happened with Elizabeth Olsen and blah, 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 and you just watched it in, some people have.
Yeah. So I hear what you're asking.
Would that be different? Would they have a different experience? Would they enjoy it?
Well, it's hard to say. I'm going to give you a quick example. The reverse being Prison Break. Everybody kept saying how great of a show it was
Prison
week
Break,
to week.
by the way.
I binged.
Is that a new show? I watched that too.
Yeah, it is.
They have to bake their way
Prison Break.
a baking competition,
Yes.
and whoever wins gets out of jail for free.
You have to include one lockpick, one chain.
That's even better. Oh my god. Oh, wait. So it's like, remember DuckTales with the Beagle Boys, where they would make their thing? So every baked good
a wrench in
has
there.
to have like a gun or a bomb or something baked into it, and it has to taste good, but also have it. John, oh my god, that's great.
All right, Food Network. Hit us up, Food Network.
John, Rob,
idea
you're gonna
yet.
get a producer credit. Oh, let's do this. Let's do it. Created by Rob Cadet. God,
So I was watching. Everybody kept saying how great Prison Break was, and I binged the first season, and I hated it. I thought it was, but I think from a week to week basis, I understood why people enjoyed it. So I give that example because, do I think that this show would benefit better from a binge watch? I guess it would, because it's 6 hours. You can hammer it out in one day. And
less than that, because commercial, like without the final credits. And
well,
it's way less.
Yeah. It's 6. Yeah, but I'm saying, right. It's yeah. So yeah, I guess you could. I guess it would be fine for those who have never seen it. I still think, though, that at the very end of it, they're going to feel that it's still somewhat disjointed. Doesn't make a lot of sense. How about those commercials? Like, do you know, like, I think if you were to binge watch it, you're going to be somewhat just as confused and maybe even let down. Although probably not as much as everybody else, because we had all these fan theories and expectations and everything else week to week to week. So, so maybe, it'd be a very good, experiment to see people who watch Falcon and Winter Soldier week to week, and then those who would wait and binge it, whether or not they have the same feeling afterwards after that series.
Because I think, to your point, Rob, if you went into that show telling someone's like, oh, should I watch a show? You would caveat by saying lower expectations and just watch it all at once. And I think if that was the case, you would probably enjoy it, as opposed to
you're not going to get a lot of closure at the end.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think if you said that way, rather, like Prison Break was the exact. I had the exact same experience with you in Prison Break. It's like, it's amazing, and then I watch it and I'm like, really?
So I have a question.
So yeah,
if the last episode cleaned up a lot of those questions, would you guys overall be a lot more satisfied with the show? Like, I'm trying to figure out everybody's displeasure with the show. Is it because it was bad, or was it just because you just didn't get what you want?
No, it's not about bad.
No,
it's about wasted potential. It's all about, like, they went 70% and a passing grade 75. It's like it's like the OTL. You just need a little bit more, 5% more, and you're gonna pass. Like it's they did a lot, but you're Marvel. You have the money. You can do more. Like, it's not like you couldn't add 4 more minutes to each episode, or you couldn't add something else to it. It's just you look at there. It's like it's one of those.
It wasn't baked long enough.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have a friend that's really smart and they're amazing, but when they produce a project with you and you're like, really? That's like
No.
I know you're better than this. I know you could do a little bit more. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's good, but my God, we know you can do it great. It's the same thing we have with professional athletes. It's the same thing we yelled at LeBron. It's like, you were amazing, but you don't post up. And then all of a sudden he did it. It's like, now you're a complete player. There's a lot to do with a lot of things where it's like, you're so close to being not just satisfying, but just you guys have so much source material. To Andre's point, it's not just about bad writing. You have the opportunity to cherry pick so much, and yet you're still missing stuff. And you're teeing up stuff that doesn't need to be teed up for who. Like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well just finish it off. So, like, don't just give us fan service for giving fan service and that's probably a point I'm stealing from you, Andre, for it as well. Yeah. So anyone else want to go through it before?
So you're saying hypothetically, if the series ended with, instead of her flying away, like Doctor Strange comes out and like teleports her out of there because he has something for her to do, everybody would feel a little better about it?
To Andre's point, it doesn't even have to be the cape. It doesn't have to be, if to your point, if it just the sparkling showed up, then you'd be like, oh,
no, but I'm taking
something.
hypothetical.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think.
There's still more.
Pat's asking.
Yeah.
No, Pat's asking a good question. He's like, what is it that they need to do?
Yeah.
I think you have to look at episode 8 and 9 as almost one episode. Because there's a right. And I think it goes back to what I had said is that this was, it was a love story about loss and everything else and connection and trying to figure out who you are. And it wound up being a typical trope of a power grab. And it was just like, but that's not what we invested in. Like, I understand you have to have a bad guy, but does it like make Wanda then the bad person? Why does Agatha Harkness say, I've created all of this as well to take everything away from you, so I own it all?
That's a good point. Like, if they made her the bad guy in her grief, then it should have been that episode where Vision was like, Wanda, you're doing this to people. And Vision should have talked her down and said, you have to let us go, Wanda. You have to move on. And she has to come to terms with it, right? Like, there's a lot of powerful emotional stuff that she's going through. And people are always talking about, it's she can't be the villain because she's just grieving and stuff like that. But I think there's something that, when we watch and read comics and stuff about superheroes and stuff, or TV movies, anything, we very rarely get to see the hero grieve, because the hero usually has to step up, compartmentalize that, and stop a threat that kind of caused that grief, right? But here we got to see that grief and see it expand, right? So now they had the chance to say, okay, let's bring this person not back to being a hero, but they ultimately know how to make the right decision. And even though they were controlled by their emotion, which all humans are, they are going to overcome this, right? Now, she does ultimately overcome it, but it's because of the effect of Agatha coming in and saying, I want to take your power, not Vision saying to her, we don't exist anymore. You have to let us go. She did make that decision because she knew it, right? But she didn't come to that realization. The story wasn't about that. And I would say, if you asked me what I wanted, Pat, if they were going to try something new, I would have started it as these sitcoms, right? Black and white sitcoms, work your way up. And then some sitcoms really have those powerful episodes where they end up talking about these things and it's not funny anymore, but they had to do it. It's like their public service. Write it like that. Take out all the superhero fighting.
They even titled an episode on a very special whatever is the throwback to those episodes back in the day.
So all of a sudden you could have these comedies, and like I said, I love those. I thought and I would watch that, like I said. But if they really said, okay, we're gonna make this show about a girl who is living her life and she's telling the story because she can't process it, but she's processing it through the television she's watched. If it went like that, and remember that episode of Family Ties with Michael J. Fox, and he's an alcoholic? Man, he's drinking like vanilla extract or something. I'd ask my parents when I watched it, I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he doing? You know what I mean? They could have done that, and then all of a sudden we'd be like, wow, this show is special. But they gave us 3 episodes that the first 2 for me, the comedy hit. Then when they got to the Malcolm in the Middle, I'm like, this isn't even funny. It's not even what it's trying to be. They're just marketing it like this. And then the Modern Family one, they're just trying. So they didn't hit those things. And then all of a sudden at the end, it becomes a superhero show.
Yeah.
Right. So like Rob said, it's like you literally, you took a Corvette and a Chevette and you crammed the 2 together and you say, yo, I got a bomb new vehicle. Right.
I feel like that was kind of
they're semi-similar. We switch those cards out.
Pat, you look at the vehicles for television, you look at The Flash, you look at Arrow, they're a weekly episodic, like villain of the week show. So to Andre's point, this is an opportunity when you do a limited series to do more than that, to stretch it out. Like this one, we didn't know who the villain was till the end. They had this opportunity to do something way different, and they should zig and zag, and they just kind of flub the ending to Rob's point.
We don't need to have Agatha Harkness as a villain.
Mhm.
You know, it really should have been about White Vision versus the other Vision trying to stop Wanda. Agatha Harkness could be a character, but she's trying to tell Wanda, you have to lower your power. Like, it should grief and loss should have been the backbone of the villain.
That's the villain, not
yeah, but
not
then
a
they
person.
couldn't have retconned her back into a non-stone powered entity.
Yeah.
Well, I think that they could have.
But okay, hold on a second.
In that way, I'm pretty sure if you spend enough time writing it, you could.
But what if that's what Doctor Strange is? What if Doctor Strange shows up at the end? I sensed your grief, and I have to tell you, I found this book that I think you are the Scarlet Witch, and it's the Book of Darkhold. And then he's like, "Come, I will teach you." Like, remember when the Ancient One? He says to the Ancient One, "Teach me." Have her say, "Okay, teach me," or help me. You know, not saying he had to be in this, but you could have still retconned the Scarlet Witch and still had this powerful thing. So, like I said, if this show is all about retconning the Scarlet Witch, why does anybody outside the comic realm care that has to be a witch? Like, her powers could have just been her throwing around those balls and levitating stuff. Yep. People who are non-initiated, non-comic people, for them, she's still the Scarlet Witch or whatever. Or you could call her Wanda. Who cares? But they went and they made, like, again, almost 6 hours to retcon and give somebody a power set that is closer to the comic book in a cinematic universe where they've taken so many liberties that if they wanted to retcon every character to be similar to how they are in the comic book, that's a lot of 6 hour limited series, and it's not necessary. Like Stu said, they're not making this for me or any of us. They want this for the masses. So yes, did the masses enjoy this? Sure, but they don't give a shit what the source of Scarlet Witch's powers are.
Yep.
Realistically, it has no bearing. Her powers have always been, from what we've seen, her powers have been.
John thinks she got bit by a radioactive witch.
Yeah. You know, like
from hell.
That's where Mephisto's from.
Yeah.
It's mixing it together, Rob.
What you don't know, Rob, is that's now a new tie-in movie with Johnny Depp showing up from hell, and then all of a sudden this is a product integration.
I mean, going back to our original thought of the series overall, I personally felt that the show was super successful. There's no way around it. Whether or not the six of us here enjoy it is kind of like
we're getting to you, Pat. Why are you jumping the line, man? You had a question. What?
My bad.
No, he can finish.
No, it's Rob.
We have to go by.
I'm done.
Okay, there's questions, and I want everyone to have equal time. So Andre, it's your turn to really, because Pat will get his due. But Pat had a question.
Go.
It's different than
I had a question.
giving us
My question was, what would would it have been better?
It's already been answered. Carry on. Yes.
Answered. Let's move on.
Andre.
Yeah, I unfortunately I think I skipped the line and already talked about it.
You got it. We'll challenge you to do something different. What else you got?
I think there was a lot more potential, like we talked about for the show. I think that overall, I'm in the Rob category. I don't know if I would recommend people to watch it. Like it just,
you guys agree?
It just doesn't hold up for what it what it was. Again, there are good moments. So if you just want to throw something on and you do like Marvel stuff, then definitely watch it. Like, you know, it's not terrible. If I was going to rank it out of 10, maybe it would be a 5.5, a 6 out of 10. You know, but it could have been so much better. I think if they really wanted to take a challenge, they should have just stuck to this, you know, give me a WandaVision comedy. I think that those first 2 episodes were brilliant. Like I would never have thought of, and I don't know why, but like the whole I Dream of Jeannie, the whole bewitched attitude. If they had given me 7 22-minute episodes or 9 22-minute episodes that nailed those old type of comedies, even though I say, yep, you know what, you guys tried something. You don't have to watch any of the other stuff. This is just heartfelt television. And then maybe if it got funny enough, maybe 2 years down the road, we get a season and it's like Friends or Three's Company or whatever, and it's just riffing on those things, then that's taking a chance and making a comedy. What they did, I don't know what chance they took, and it didn't deliver, you know, for me. But as John said, you said this, in my opinion, lowers the bar for other stuff. you know, if this was them shooting for the moon, they need to relook at different things. And as Pat said, yes, it was super successful and everybody watched it and this and that. But I think that is a product of where we are today, 2020, 2021. We're at home. There's not much.
They got to play the hits now.
Yeah,
Have to do stuff.
we've paid for it, right? So we got to watch it.
But to their thing, if you're gonna go something wacky and try for it, now is the time, and now they have to adjust because if the I'm sure the Kevin Feige and them are either reading and seeing what's going on the internet with some fans and whatnot. I'm not sure how of a person he is in terms of arrogance to just believe that I'm right. It doesn't matter. Like, let's hope that he was like, okay, we took our chops, we tried something, we're do something different.
I think, like Pat
we'll
said, overwhelmingly the response to it, more people than not like it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But again, I've said the whole thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've skewed way too much to the comedic side, so they keep giving people what's worked, and that's cool. But then I don't think we'll ever elevate them to the you guys are going to get an Oscar or you guys are going to get those Emmys because you're not pushing yourself to, because you're in the front, you're not pushing yourself to go even further and do something remarkable, you know.
And to DC's high hat is basically they've made movies where they've been thought of and performances of to win Oscars, and they won. As long as you play the Joker, you get one. So that's two.
Except for Jared Leto.
Supposedly, except for Jared Leto.
Two. Well, you know, Jared Leto in the Justice League. You know, this new super movie. Maybe he'll get a chance. We'll find out. Rob's super excited to watch a 4-hour movie with no end as well. So, you know, it all works out. This is going to be the next 4-hour cut with no resolutions. It's going to be amazing.
You reap what you sow.
I cannot wait for Rob to give me that review and be like, so it's going to be like we joked before. It's going to be all of us again sitting in a conversation like Finding Nemo. We're all sitting in our bags of water going, now what? like there's no other movie. Like, that's it? Like Dark Sea, Dark Side?
Money talks.
Money talks. Oh, they're not making another one. No way. They're just it doesn't matter. This thing could please. Okay. Andre, any additional thoughts on the series before we jump on to Tim?
No, I think I said my piece. Thanks.
Okay. Tim.
So
all right, everybody. Thanks. That's been our show. You'll give a good week.
That's so mean.
Don't worry. March 19th.
I think Stu said it right when he said, you know, they're teeing it up, but I feel like, and I love golfing, but they were teeing up a lot of things, but nobody was even swinging at the balls. Like my problem with the overall show was that they seemed to want to do too much, and then there was no ending to it. I know we've kind of talked about this, but like my thing is like they wrote this show before they started filming, right? So like someone had to have read this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
So it's board with the threads, and they all just go nowhere.
Yeah, I
can
like, wait
a second,
Tim. It's not Night at the Improv. They're not just doing like a yucks. Like, we're gonna get up there. Someone throw me a theme. Lost, and then they just like
WandaVision Night Live.
I just think my grade three teacher, Mrs. Baranowski, would have never let me submit a story, like a creative writing story that had so many things that never did anything. She would have said, get rid of Monica Rambeau, get rid of Agatha, get rid of most of the sword people. You know, you've got a good thing going here with Jimmy Woo and Kat Dennings.
Unless if you submitted to J.K. Rowling, she would have been like, "Can we add a sporting event in it, Tim? Can you add in some mixed martial arts while you're at it? You know, like spend about an episode. You know, that them gearing up, putting on gloves.
Does Kat Dennings crochet at all? Like, can she submit something? But I feel like I listen to your guys' podcast every week, of course, and then I knew that there was like not a lot of love for the I Dream of Jeannie stuff and whatever, but I was really enjoying it, and I was like, I like this. I like the cutesy little like flash or homages to the old shows and stuff like that. And when they started to do the half, I'm like, okay, cool, stick with the half. But then in the last 3-4 episodes, it's gone.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, like I kind of missed that almost. Like I kind of got suckered into liking that, and I did. I feel like had they just kept this show, like you guys said, about the power of grief, the power of love, the power of loss, kept it to the show thing, and then just stuck to their relationship. You could have had the kids. I thought the kids were really good. I enjoyed them. The obviously the Jimmy and Kat thing, I love that. Whatever their names are. I like them, and
Darcy
I feel like you
and
really
Jamie Woo.
lost. Because where are you going to go with them? I know people are saying that they might do a spin-off show. I don't think they're ever really going to do that. So you really lost the opportunity to play off those characters a lot, like give them a little bit more of a spotlight. They could have been your comedic, more of your comedic bits to the show and you would have had the serious Wanda and Vision. And I think the last battle really could have been just a good old-fashioned three-way. You have Vision trying to stop Wanda. You have White Vision, which is not politically correct, coming in to stop regular Vision. And then you'd have Wanda trying to stop White Vision, right? Like you'd have that three-way battle.
I think he's more mother of pearl, by the way. He's more off-white.
Yeah, an off-white.
Off-white.
Champagne.
Off-white.
It's kind of like he's a GoBot. He's just there, but almost the same, but kind of like, I didn't get Transformer, I got a GoBot. Yeah.
I do have a lot of GoBots that I love it.
Of course.
But I think that had you just kept it more about the love and loss, and then get rid of the Agatha thing totally. That's a total garbage to me. She really ruined the show for me. In all reality, I was loving the show up until the X-Men thing. Holy moly! So this boner guy is literally not Quicksilver. Like there is.
We don't know. It just yeah. I think
he's an actor. He's an actor that was
that's
recast.
craziness.
Yeah.
that was such a misdirect, right? Like
here's the thing.
And a lost opportunity.
Lost opportunity or on purpose misdirection?
No, here's the
just
thing.
to piss us off. What is the point of that?
Yeah, it's to piss you off because Kevin Feige knows he's not a dummy. He knows that if he did that and take it away from us, we'd all be like, that's I think where the anger is most likely. It's why even do
really
this?
bad.
Because if you do it and it's just a weird misdirect, then just wasting everyone's time. It's like
and it must have killed them too, because you think like as they're airing the show weekly and you saw the love, like that episode where he comes in and people, and I know Andre, I know you didn't like the X-Men, and I actually went back and watched the old X-Men movies after because I never watched them before because I hated that whole series. So I watched it and I just fast forwarded to the Quicksilver parts, and I was
just in case he shows up.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's cool, whatever. If you're Marvel, you're watching those weekly comments, and then when that episode hits and you see the internet explode with like the love for this guy and the love for the thought that this was coming in X-Men, and then you're like, oh shit. Like,
yeah, but Tim, you got caught.
What's gonna happen.
You got caught. It was Agatha all along.
Really bad, right?
Damn it, Pat theme song stuck in my head again.
I mean, I love the show.
At least you're not Sparky.
I will say too, the length of the episodes. I mean, I don't know what Winter Soldier is or Loki if they're going to do the same thing, but it's tough, man, watching these very short episodes. I watch a lot of like, we all watch other shows or whatever, and I'm watching like Korean drama. Shout out to Sisyphus if you're not watching that one. Sisyphus.
No.
That's a pretty good show. Each episode though is like an hour and 10 minutes. And there's no 20-minute credits at the end eating that up either. It's like a solid hour and 10 minutes of each episode. You get a lot, and it's not filler. It's just, you get a lot of story.
Is it a superhero show?
It's got time travel and stuff. It's pretty good. Like end of the world time travel stuff. But I feel like the shortness of the episodes really hurt it too. Because I feel like had you even shortened this down to like 4 or 5 episodes and just doubled them up each week, we would have got more to digest and we might have felt a little bit better. But each week we're getting such little snippets that you were always left wanting. And
out of the 20 minutes, there was not even 5 minutes of content.
Yeah.
For most of those, it was just like, what? Yeah.
So I feel, but overall, I like-ish the show. I would never recommend anyone watch it now. I think if you're watching it weekly, I was supporting you, saying, hey, stick with it. It's pretty good, whatever. But overall now, it's tough. But
read a summary.
Read a summary, or even not. I don't know what even matters. Like, all someone has to do is tell you, hey, Vision put his memories into that White Vision. That was the most important thing that you're going to probably need to know.
Yeah, and the next time you see that White Vision, he's going to mention it too, so don't worry.
Yeah.
If you ever see him again, he's going to be like, oh, I have my memories back. And you're like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Pre-Thanos. That's all I know. Anything else that you want to jump before I give Pat
No, I did hear. I was looking it up. I think the drum playing ant is going to be in Shang-Chi.
As he should be.
Makes sense.
It's all coming full
Cameo.
circle for you, Rob.
Yeah.
I
Color me excited.
I love everything about this because Rob has just had a horrific time this last few months where he's like Wonder Woman is gonna be so good. I'm gonna buy it on multiple ways. I cannot wait. Whoop! He's like, guys, WandaVision's so great. The first 3 episodes, really digging it. Whoop! It's like
I like how the aspect ratio changed.
Yeah.
When they
Oh
went to
my
different
God.
scenes.
The third of this trilogy.
That was clever, though. That was really clever.
The third of the trilogy of pain is the Justice League movie where Rob's gonna be like, guys, Justice League, Snyder.
3 strikes, he's out.
This is bad things happen in 3 Robs. So let's just hope the Justice League's the last one that a bad thing happens to you, and then you're fine because clearly you're the kiss of death. Because if you are really excited about something, it is just a gong show. So that's pretty much it. And we'll have it before what is it next week or when is it? It's soon, isn't it?
The week after next.
Oh, the week after next, the same week as Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So
at least most people.
Justice League hits on Thursday.
Winter Soldier's on Friday.
And Winter Soldier's on Friday.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now.
So
we're
2
gonna have to
weeks from
double
now,
up.
get ready for that podcast where the highs are highs and the lows are lows. Rob's gonna be like, guys, let me talk about my love for Winter Soldier and Falcon, but don't worry about Justice League. We'll talk about the other day.
I think he should fake it. Even if he doesn't like it, he should fake that it was amazing.
He can't.
No. If people are going to wonder why we keep talking about aspect ratio, my one concern about the Justice League coming up is that if you look at everybody's panels right now, we're all in a widescreen. But look at Stu's panel. He's more of a 4:3 aspect ratio, and that's what Justice League's coming out as, and that has some concern for me. So I'm just giving people.
It's so good. I cannot wait for how much of a gong show this movie's gonna be, and
it's gonna be great. Shut up.
Honestly,
Snyder wants to sell vintage TVs. That's why.
I'm so excited for Justice League the movie. I cannot wait because it's gonna be just Rob at the end, just eyes beat open, going.
If we can hack into his camera now, we'll be able to film him smashing his DC paraphernalia just to pieces. Like
No. He won't.
To that Leonard Cohen song.
Yeah. Hallelujah in the background. And Rob, that'd be great. Hallelujah, slow motion as he's breaking stuff in his basement would be a great.
Even just breaking down, crying after watching it. Going, oh my God, this didn't live up to the hype.
Question of joy or sadness is up to you as to how you want to discern whether what the tears are. So okay, that's a little review of something we're talking about 2 weeks. But yes, Pat, your thoughts.
I like the show. I think it was obvious that I kind of like the show. I felt like this show would not have worked as a movie though.
He's also a Wanda lover though.
Shut up. I'm a fan of strong female leads, but I don't think this show would have worked as a movie just because of the episodic nature of it, right? And there was no way the show over time was going to stay in that TV world, because the entire show is that the TV world is her creation, and over time people break into it. So there was no way it was going to stay that way. So I understand when you guys say that, it would have been great if it just stayed as like a 70s TV show the entire time, but it wasn't possible, right? It had to loop back to the MCU in some way, shape, or form, right? But I do agree with what a lot of you guys say. The ending seemed a little abrupt. It just felt like we could have had a little more, right? Which is kind of ironic because we always talk about these shows being quote unquote bad, but it's bad because they're too short or there's too much fluff, right? Because you guys say that, you guys didn't, there are a lot of weaknesses of the show, but it would have been better if there was just 4 or 5 minutes longer, which is kind of ironic to me, right? But at the end of the day, I've really, like I was saying before, there isn't very many things that would cause me to can't wait for Friday morning, right? And this 8-week process or 9-week process of like chasing the show and watching.
It was 8 because the first week was 2 episodes together, right? Yeah.
8 or 9 weeks, whatever, Stu,
Yeah.
right? But like the entire process of watching the show and then just doing my daily internet browsing and then seeing theories. Like, I mean, I feel like that process was definitely worth it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to sit down and binge it, maybe not, because you lose out on that, because you lose out on that Saturday morning. Hey, Stu, did you see what happened? Did you catch WandaVision yet? Can we talk about it? Right? Once you pull that out of it, you're going to have a different experience, right? So for me, watching the show was akin to watching, like, you know, when we were watching The Mandalorian, you were just watching you were asking everybody else, did you see it? Because of that entire, you know, in multiple group chats every Saturday morning, we'd be like, can we talk about Mandalorian yet? Yep. And the same thing happened with WandaVision. Can we talk about WandaVision yet? Right? And I think that kind of is a big reason why I really liked the show, but because it wasn't just the show itself, it was the entire process. Right. And I feel like we've forgotten how to watch TV a lot of times in these recent years because everybody just used to binging. Right. But like watching it on a weekly basis like this, I kind of miss it.
Yeah. No, I think to your point, Pat, it is kind of a combination of what Andre and your thoughts. It's kind of that perfect storm where Andre's right. Like there's not much going on right now, TV wise, and it's kind of the only show in town, but Disney made that on purpose. They decided to make it an event style because there's not much going on. If you binged all of it, it's working for The Mandalorian. Like the buildup like of the series, it's like, as we've seen it, when you put something all out like Umbrella Academy, which I think is a far superior TV show than WandaVision. But here's the thing, it all came out at once, and then it was out of the zeitgeist within like 48 hours, like in and out. Everyone's like, if that was weekly, the buildup for Umbrella Academy would have been tremendous because you're like, wow, there's so much going on, and this show is amazing. But to the detriment sometimes of WandaVision, it's like, you know, the show is okay, but it's built up so much because of the fan theories and the community, which is, that's part of what we're missing because we're in a pandemic, is that the group of us chatting and like making the normacy of like, if we were in the store right now just chatting about this show, like we're social beings, we're social animals, we miss it. So like, as much as we're all complaining, it's brought something back to us that we're lacking in terms of like social conversation.
Well, this is exactly what comics are, because like that's why I read the periodical.
Yeah.
But to Pat's point, like, okay, I'll finish the periodical point. I love when people come in, I say, yo, did you read Batman? Yeah, man. How's he going to get out of this? And we talk about it.
Yeah.
But that story isn't diminished because someone reads it in trade.
Yeah.
And I think what Pat's saying is, well, the show might not have been good, but watching it weekly was good. Or watching it weekly made the show better. So I like the experience of watching the show better than the show. Whereas to me, a good story is a good story. So I might have read it weekly in a comic book and we could talk about it at the store, but then if I handed that trade off to Rob, he'd be like, oh wow, that's still a good story, even though he missed all those weeks of the dialogue, right?
It's just we talked about before, television is a medium where it's more accessible, more people are watching it, so there's just more opportunity for people to engage in that conversation, as opposed to a comic, which I think is always a superior product, but not everyone's buying that book or waiting. Some people are, like you said before, waiting for a trade. We're all been guilty of like, I'll wait till the run is over, I don't want to buy single, and then you kind of, that conversation just ceases. But like for a TV show, we're all in it all together, and we're watching it and having conversation. It's really quick, and you can bring your spouse in. Sometimes they watch it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're engaged, sometimes they're not. But it's a communal time to do together. As a comic book reading, it's basically just you. You can't. I don't remember the last time I've shared a comic book with someone else. We both read the book together at the same time.
Of course not.
So you don't do that, right? So it is like this. This is a perfect storm of so many things in a pandemic that I think Andre talked about before. Is that if this was in 2018 when there was stuff happening every day, would it be the same as it was now? Probably not. It wouldn't have the same hype because there's always other things going on. It just kind of fit perfectly. And also I think it's the reverse too when it comes to the internet rage. It's so much hard because there's nothing else. Like everyone has to rage on something because there's not other options. Like, you know, not like we haven't got Black Widow the movie, like that. Who knows? You know, we haven't John's sadness, and to Tim's sadness, we haven't had a Shang-Chi trailer. We know that the Eternals is coming up, but there's nothing there. So like we
No
can't
Fast
even
and the Furious 9.
push back.
2021.
Like
John
John
Cena.
Cena,
On that
our boy
note,
John Cena.
On that note, though, Stu, do you know how many times I get tricked into watching a Shang-Chi made-up trailer on YouTube?
I know.
Thousands.
Here's
I'm going to label this. I'm going to label this podcast as
Here's the thing.
Shang-Chi teaser.
If we're looking at the panel, like it's Tim, then me, and then John, this upper half is all like, if you just start yelling Kumite, we're all like nodding our heads going, we are ready to go. Like, where's the Kumite? Where is it in Hong Kong? I'm there. Like, we're sketching. Like, we love martial arts. We love all the fighting. It's there. So, you know, the Karate Kid and
the Eternals,
Cobra
man.
Kai.
Who's excited? Forget
Haven't seen
about
Eternals.
Shang-Chi.
So, like, I think Andre and it's kind of like we're so critical because, to your point, there's also nothing else to be critical about until, as Rob is waiting for, when we get the Justice League, and then that is when the hammer is going to drop. I don't think that anything's going to get either more of hot takes, because this was something that we didn't know about WandaVision. Like, okay, whatever. But the Snyder cut is what people have been fighting for years. And if it isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread, people are like, this is what we waited for. This is the vision. Like, it's going to be bad. Like, if it's not just the most amazing movie ever, then we're I don't know how we're going to be able to hold ourselves back. Like, people are going to forget about WandaVision in like 2 weeks, and they'll be like, oh, it's quaint. And we'll go back to it and be like,
Forget about it by tomorrow.
yeah, we'll get it tomorrow. But you know, what's coming up is going to be a real strong indication of what's going forward. I think in a bubble of watching WandaVision, if I was a layman and I didn't know anything, and I was just like a normie, not like us or super fans, and watched it on its own without going on all the fan pages, without going on the forums, it's a fine watch. Like, it's fine. It's you know, better than some of the seasons of the new Flash, at least. Like, I would watch this over the Flash.
The show tied itself up in a bow. Whether or not you believe it, whether or not you believed or you should believe that Agatha, whatever, right? The fact that the matter is the show started, it hinted at what was going on, it told you what was going on, it introduced the villain, knocked out the villain, and it's an ambiguous ending.
Wait, somebody got knocked up or knocked out? I couldn't.
To your point, Pat, we just hoped it was a higher end, nicer ribbon. Like, this is just basically the ribbon you'd use from, like, you know, like a parcel,
from your
like
grandmother's gift,
like crappy ribbon that you just tied up, and you're like, there you go. It's not in a bow; it's just tied together for maintenance purposes.
Pat, better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which you're currently watching.
I'm on season 5 or 4, whichever one with Ghost Riders.
That's a great season.
Yeah.
Oh
Bobby
man,
Reyes,
that's great.
Bobby Reyes. He looks exactly like he does in the comic books. It's insane.
It's perfect.
Like, it's straight down with the 2 white stripes.
Yep.
I was like, what? I now know what a 69 Charger is, Stu.
Yes.
Everyone does.
Oh my God. I'm glad you're on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That season arc, which is 2 separate arcs, is so good. And there's stuff coming up.
I'm working on it, man.
It's great. It's better than the first 3 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I really like the first 3 seasons. I really like the first season. It was like a spy show, but then it got ridiculous. But whatever.
Yeah, season 2
it turned into a comic book.
Yeah. Anyways, any other final thoughts on the season, Pat, before as we went on a tangent?
I just think, you know, there's no way when they wrote it, they didn't know that people were going to be theorizing. So everything that we're complaining about, 100% they knew about it, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember when the first couple episodes came out, people were breaking down the commercials, right?
They still are.
They still are. There's no way the guy that producer wrote this doesn't know people are doing that. And everything you guys hate about it, it's all on purpose. Y'all got God.
There was someone who broke down. There was a picture of, you know, in Mr. Bonner's condo, or like his man cave. There was a picture of 12.
It was a room on top of the garage, was it not?
Yeah, it was a room
like Boner and growing pains.
And Pat knows this as well. There was a Baltimore Orioles player, 12, on a pennant on the wall. And who is that?
I don't know. Baltimore, Kyle Ripken, 12?
No, 12, Crash. Who is?
What? I didn't see it. I didn't see the ribbon.
Baltimore. Anyways, it's Crash. What's it?
Crash
I didn't see the ribbon.
So there's a pennant of a baseball player, number 12, and it's
wicked bit. Way to go.
It's a Baltimore Orioles player, and they're like, well, this could be a connection to like Baltimore or like out, because in the other movie it's outside of DC, and then like Chris Davis. So Crash Chris Davis.
Your
so
bit
like
failed to make the landing, much like this episode 9 of WandaVision.
So it's like people are like looking at it, it's like, well, there's a Baltimore Orioles player. Baltimore's just out of DC, and it could be this. And I'm like, because Logan said once that I know a guy who lives out of DC, and that could be Maryland. And like, this is the level of like, you put anything in the background, and then people are gonna like
is what I'm
HD
saying.
it and be like, it's this, and connect the dots.
I'm waiting for the Eminem theories, because Wanda is like, I'm not who you say I am, so radio won't even play your jam.
Shut up.
Eminem's not part of the MCU. That's the new article. That's the new
here.
clickbait article. Eminem confirmed MCU.
I'm gonna click that right now.
Well, Elon Musk is there. Don't worry. Elon Musk is part of the MCU, so that's all you need to know. He's probably doing SpaceX. Any other things, Pat, before we jump on?
No, I'm good.
So, yeah, I think to everyone's point, we're all kind of in agreement that we wanted more, and we're all glad it's over.
It's fine.
We could always use more. We could always use more.
We always use more. But I think I already said it already.
It's like
The microscope is on so much right now because there's nothing else happening. Like the TV shows, even the TV shows like This Is Us and stuff are being stopped because of pandemic procedures, and like it got held back a couple weeks. Like we know that there are so many Marvel movies being filmed, whether they're finished just wrapping up Ms. Marvel, they finished wrapping Spider-Man, they finished wrapping Doctor Strange. They know we're filming in Thor right now in Australia. We've seen pictures of leaking of stuff. Like things are happening. We're just chomping.
Haley Steinfeld is Hawkeye. Oh, sorry, what's her name? As new Hawkeye.
Like it's everything is there. Like we know there are tons of shows being filmed. We've talked about She-Hulk, which Rob is not a fan of already, but Tatiana Maslany as Andre and me, we love her, so it doesn't matter.
Ms. Marvel.
Like Ms. Marvel, like there's stuff, that we have, Moon Knight coming. Like there's stuff coming down the line, and good or bad, who knows?
Man, it's rough being a nerd right now.
It's like, again, I always make this joke, like we're living in embarrassment of riches. Like all we had back in the day at one point was X-Men and Blade, and then we had the old Captain America movie, Rob, which you own, and that's the only thing we could watch back and forth and be like, man, Captain America, remember that time he fought an Italian Red Skull? It's like, oh yeah. And then we watched the Hulk TV shows. Like I get it, we're not happy with a lot of stuff, but man, at least we're getting stuff, as opposed to years ago we got nothing. We got absolutely only cartoons, and that was it. So we're first world problems, choosy beggars, whatever you want to say, but we got stuff, and we still got some cool moments. So again, if I was to recommend the show, I would recommend it to someone who has never seen it, sure. But for the nerds, I would say just lower the bar. Like just imagine this is Iron Man 2 level, and you're fine.
The hype train is gone, so they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah. Now the hype train for Falcon and Winter Soldier, like God help us, like that's the problem now. So
but that's just a buddy. That's just a buddy action film, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Which is all we want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just hopefully they don't end us like who's gonna be Captain America, and then they just cut the scene. It's like Bucky and Falcon be like, I don't know, do you want it? It's like flip a coin, and even for that, at least that's an ending.
Vision flies through saying, "Where is Thanos?" And he keeps going off to the next show.
Oh my God, I want to stand. Oh my God, Paul Bettany road trip show where he flies around. Oh yes, I'm in. Yeah,
he makes a cameo in every movie.
That's right, and it's all he says. Where is Thanos? I am Vision, and then he just keeps going off.
I just love that he has to spend like 4 hours in makeup to get him in that, to be that way, and he's like,
yeah,
again, I have to do it. Oh boy,
can't you just deep fake me? I don't understand.
Yeah, no, Paul Bettany, I said it before, he's a gift to the world. I enjoy him so much, and he's underrated Wimbledon. So you could fight me on that one. He's delightful in Wimbledon, the movie. Okay, so I'm wrapping up by saying good times in terms of points here and there that show, but we all look forward to Winter Soldier, which we'll be talking about in 2 weeks' time. Andre, on to you. As we close out this podcast and you finish off your thoughts and the I have spoken portion of the pod.
All right. So there's only one thing that can be talked about this particular week for I Have Spoken, and it is the comic book by Boom Studios, co-written and co-created by legendary Canadian Keanu Reeves. Search up this book. It is called Berserker, spelled BRZKR something. Anyways, great first issue. It's a double-sized issue. This is a book about a immortal human combat engine machine that just this first issue was just high octane epic action. This guy's a one-man tour de force, wrecking crew, crazy action. It is not for kids. He's punching off heads, he's getting his nose shot off, everything. But this particular person does not know his past, and he is searching for a way to become mortal so he can die. Great first issue. I highly recommend it. Best thing about it, it kind of looks like Keanu Reeves. And when you're reading the book and he's dialoguing, you're definitely hearing his voice in your head. So check it out. It's on sale now. We've got tons of copies.
Tim's looking for his copy right now.
Hit us up if you want to check it out. Highly recommended. And that is my recommendation for I Have Spoken.
Whoa. Awesome.
Dude.
All right. So as we close out, John and Andre, where can they find you guys on the interwebs and in it's been a while since we said the desert of the real. It's happening. What's going on? Tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, so new website is up, Heroes World Online. So it's all routed there, or heroesworld.ca. The Facebook, Instagram, Heroes World Online as well. All updates there. And if you're following us on the YouTube Heroes World Online, please subscribe, give us a like, and comment, and catch us. When is Prison Bake Off gonna air?
We have to work on the show. Prison Bake is the show.
Prison Bake, yes. Prison Bake.
Prison
right.
Bake is I think the title.
We're gonna working title.
I don't know who we're gonna get. I think we need someone British. I think we need someone non-British, a combination of the two. Like who we can get to make that show very off the ground. So we'll see. We'll talk coming soon. We'll talk to CBC and the BBC. It'll be a joint production. Andre, yourself.
Yeah, so we are back open. We've got some new store hours. We're in the store on Tuesday from 12 to 6, Wednesday from 12 to 8, Thursday 12 to 6, Friday 12 to 8 again, and Saturday is 10 to 6. So we're looking forward to seeing you. I want to thank everybody who has come out so far. We've got all our safety measures in place. We had a nice visit from the bylaw officers coming by to make sure we are up to snuff, and we got that check of approval. So come on by or give us a call, reach out to us. If you still only want us to curbside your package, you don't want to come in, we're still doing that. So we want to get you what is going to get you by during these times. So hit us up and come by and check us out. We miss you.
Rob?
You can catch tomorrow night on 8:00 live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. John and I on the Heroes World Psychic Show, we are doing the countdown to the Snyder Justice League. So tomorrow night we are re-watching and re-reviewing Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. I believe, John, we might be doing the Ultimate Edition. Yep. So join us. Sorry? Is
that the Martha one?
Yes, it is the Martha one. Yeah. So and to commemorate this, John has actually gotten a tattoo that says Martha on his left bicep. So we will be doing that. We'll be doing live, and so join us. It's always it turns into a kind of a crazy party with people in the comments and whatnot. So you can find us there.
On a note that if Rob is truly disappointed with the Justice League movie, we're gonna make him do the Charlie Brown dance in the background when we do the podcast. He's just gonna stand.
No, I think we should hold a football and make him kick it.
Either
we
way,
should
it's
go
gonna
out
be-
in the field and
You're-
hold a football and let Rob
Yeah,
get
we
a
gotta
running
figure out how
start
to get the clip of
And
the
then
sad.
actually let him kick it
Yeah.
because it's missed every
really
other
let
time.
him go for it.
I think we're gonna get demonetized, but how do we figure out how to make him do the sad Charlie Brown walk around when the movie is maybe not to his liking?
Cry like
Although,
this.
After 4 hours of it, maybe he'll talk himself into it. So I'm excited to see how that works.
It
Either
has
way.
to be better than Wonder Woman, so it's fine.
It has to be better than
Be
we
careful,
did in
be
Justice
careful.
League. That's what it has to be. It doesn't have to be an Oscar winner. It doesn't have to be Donner or Superman. It just has to be better than Joss Whedon's version of Justice League.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
I think is
We're gonna
attainable.
find out. Pat, where can they find you on the store, or what are you doing?
I normally hang out at the store Wednesday and Fridays. If you play Magic the Gathering and play Commander, we are actually John and I started a Discord for some MTG Commander.
Sweet.
The link is in our on our Facebook page. So we play some
What's the name
Commander
of it?
every Wednesday. On pardon, you said?
What's the name of the Discord channel?
I actually don't remember the name, but there's a link in our Facebook group.
I'll add the link. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll add the link. But yeah, no, we play some Commander via Discord and Spell Table. So if you guys have any interest in Commander, want to play at home, let us know.
Awesome,
Yep.
awesome. And Tim has exciting news to share with us and fun stuff. So Tim, what do you have to share with us? What's going on?
Well, I've been to Heroes World twice in this last week, twice in 2 days, because when I went and I started showing my friends what I was buying, my buddy's like, I didn't know they were open. Get back over there and pick me up some stuff. So make sure you visit the store. You mentioned this game. Man, that is a good game. I don't know if you guys haven't played this, but it's a
really
two-player, 2 to 4 player. That is a good game, man.
2 to 3.
That's a classic Stu recommendation. Yep.
Classic Stuart. And now the new version, New York, is coming out too, where it's New York City. Looks great.
That's cultural appropriation, though, so you can't do that. But this game, man, go pick that up from Heroes World. That is good. You can find me now. Super thanks to you guys for having me on the podcast for the past little while. I had always wanted to do one myself, and thanks to you guys for giving me the courage to do it. Huge thanks to John, because he has helped me out crazily. I am borderline a Luddite when it comes to podcast technology. So he has helped me huge time setting it up. I've started my own. It's called Fight in Sight Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter. Not Twitter, idiot. Instagram, YouTube, Spotify.
This guy makes fun of his co-host for always
you gotta
dropping
lock
the
down
wrong
the tag
thing.
before this
And he
goes
just
up.
did it.
Before this pod is over, can you lock down the Twitter handle at least before someone else does?
Not Twitter handle, Instagram.
You've got to lock down the Twitter one too before someone else does.
I have no. I get what you mean.
Just lock it down, because someone can speak on your behalf. You just gotta hold it, park it.
Rob's signing up right now.
I got it.
Yeah, oh no! you gotta
watch the Snyderverse.
Gotta go.
Hold down. You gotta hold it down. Even if you don't use it, just park it. So,
I got it. Why do you fart smell? Fight Inside Podcast.
Oh no.
Anyways, yeah, no. So I.
By the time this comes out, the handle will be gone. So don't try. Don't try.
Yeah. But no, so thank you very much, guys. It's at Fight Insight Podcast, and we talk about MMA stuff, fighting stuff. Check it out.
It's actually a really good. It's quite funny, and if you're not a big fight person, I haven't watched UFC in years. The podcast to watch it is quite funny. They spend a lot of money on special effects, showing two fighters combating each other. So it's definitely something you want to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to their analysis of the Kumite as well
that'll be a crossover. That'll be a sidekick show crossover.
And then basically it's spiritual successor of The Quest. So there we got that one. Bad movie. Okay, so so follow Tim and don't steal the Twitter handle, because it's gonna be gone. Thank you everyone for following us, liking, subscribing. Again, sidekicks, Fight and Sight, those things are up and active, so continue on that. If you have some thoughts on your views on WandaVision, put it below. Let us know. Share your thoughts. Tell us we're absolutely wrong. Tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about, because you guys are not shy. You tell me all the time I'm wrong. So good times.
Give me your top 5. Give me your top 5.
top five things. So thank you again. Be safe out there and support local. Do what you can. Even if it's a small purchase, anything you do is helpful. Whatever it is, don't think that it's a small thing is not going to be helpful. It is. Big box stores and big online retailers are going to be fine. don't worry about them. Make sure that your locals are going to survive because, they might not if you don't support them. So please do. Thank you all again. And we will see you next week as the countdown to Justice League and Rob's perpetual sadness continues. So see you all again. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Make it stairs.